Are you just going to stay here?
I don't know.
Oh, sweetheart, listen to me. Please, if you love me, just listen to me.
No, you listen to me. This machine is predicting our future. Do you think I could just walk away from it?
I'm Derek.
And I'm Noah, and you're listening to A Bite Of,
where we take our current favorite pop culture obsession and we enjoy that thing one nibble at a time.
We do, and it's the Twilight Zone.
Yay!
Beginning of the year, we always watch a marathon of the Twilight Zone, and we figured while we weren't covering some of the stuff that was out now, we might as well share a love with you that we love.
Yeah, when I think of this season, when I think of like a season like Hawkeye or WandaVision, to me it's like a sandwich, and we're biting the sandwich until we finish it. It's one sandwich. I feel like a season like this is like a charcuterie board, okay? We're taking a lovely platter of deliciousness and we're just picking the little morsels that we love best to take a bite of.
The charcuterie board be on the wonderful board that, you know, two of our very lovely listeners sent us like last year.
Because they care a lot, and they definitely sent it to us.
Definitely.
Heck yeah, I was picturing that Captain America charcuterie board. Yeah. So that's how I feel about a season like this. Is like we're still taking a bite of something, but we're making the perfect little cracker bite for ourselves.
I do love a good charcuterie board. I hope we have one at the wedding this weekend.
Yes, we are going to a wedding this weekend. My best friend is getting married. She had a postponement from COVID from last January. So things are happening. And knowing Melissa, who was a guest star on our first season.
Yeah. Funny enough, the Twilight. What was it? Midnight Sun.
I think it was like the penultimate episode.
Yeah.
She is definitely going to have cheese there.
Yay. I mean, of course she would. Yeah, she loves a good cheese board, too.
Heck yeah. She's a classy lady.
Also, speaking of weddings, this is a weird segue, but
Noah is itching to get rid of these things.
I did. Okay, so our wedding that we had in November, I made these tote bags. I designed these tote bags, got them printed, and they were a favor for the wedding. And we have a lot left over.
Yes.
Because the order can only go in a certain amount of quantities, and we had a very small wedding because COVID.
Intimate.
Also, to be intimate.
And
we have a lot left over. So if you would like one, just message us on Instagram, Facebook, or
oh, he's
Twitter.
plugging the socials.
At A Bite of Pod, and we'll send you one because we have a lot.
Yes. What you don't know is that he keeps pointing to the metal bin that's next to him that is holding them. Every time he says it, he points to it.
The reason why I want to get rid of them is because they're next to me every time we do this podcast. Yes. And I'm like, please get rid of them.
We'll also be moving soon, so if you could help us get rid of some stuff to pack, we'd really appreciate it.
Yeah. So let us know.
Yeah. So that's a glimpse into our life and end of podcast. Bye, guys.
That was a little tiny little update. And especially if some of you Patreon members want one, I mean, you could just message us on Patreon.
Oh, the Patricians? The
have your
Patricians
address.
get what they want. Yeah.
And we can send it to you right away.
Immediately.
Right.
Overnight.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
I mean, if you want to be a Patreon member too, you can find us at Patreon.com/abiteof.
Don't be afraid to support us.
Did you like how I did all those segues to also just do the little opening stuff?
It was probably the most seamless combination you've ever done in the history of A Bite Of.
Until I ruined it with pointing it out. But
No. I think self hyphen word is good.
What?
Awareness. Self-awareness is good. Words. Look, I only have a finite amount of space in my brain for words, and sometimes words that I don't use very often get locked in the storage facility. So it just takes a little time for my brain to march down the stairs and bring that word up.
Whoa. Okay.
I don't know if that happens to anybody else, but just me.
How do you picture what the inside of your head looks like?
So there's my brain. And in the meta space of my brain, there's also a storage facility that's on the lower decks.
I always seen mine. Have you seen the episode of SpongeBob where it shows a bunch of like SpongeBob's inside his head, and they're just like frantically going through file cabinets. That's how I feel like my brain is.
Now, are they SpongeBob's or are they Noah's?
Probably SpongeBob's.
Yes, I appreciate
All
that.
named Noah. There's Noah Bob's.
Noah Bob SquarePants.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But that's how I picture it. That's how I've always just pictured what the inside of my head looks like. I know it's weird, but
I like that for you.
Thank you.
It's whimsical.
All right, let's get into the actual episode of this.
I keep forgetting what we're here for.
Right. So this episode, as you may have guessed, this is only our second one within this season that we're covering. And we're deciding to couple some episodes together of the Twilight Zone and kind of talk about them. There's a running theme throughout most of them.
Yeah.
And this one, it kind of stems from Derek's dad. We always know it's Friday because he would put on, what is it? Triple D.
Diners, drive-ins, and dives.
Right.
Yes. That's right. We are doing 2 episodes of Guy Fieri in the Twilight Zone.
Imagine if this just became a Guy Fieri podcast.
I mean, the hair and the goatee is a Twilight Zone episode in itself.
I don't mind that show, but it's Guy Fieri himself that I'm just like, I don't know if I like you.
Well, sure. But I have to be honest. I think back in the day, I mean, Triple D, as you called it, which is hilarious because like that's like, I don't know. I feel like that's an insider term.
He calls it that.
So you've been listening to it more, watching it more than you think. But I feel like I have definitely, I mean, that show has been on for, I want to say like a decade.
Yeah, it's too long.
But I've been known to be in a Triple D, DDD, D cubed wormhole myself. It's easy to fall into.
It is. And we decided to take that title and run with it.
Noah's real good at bringing it back to what we're doing here.
Because I just want to say the title. What did we even call this episode? I forgot. I didn't write it down.
Oh, it's Diners, Devils, and Drives.
Diners, Devils, and Drives. Yes, because every episode that we're covering this takes place in a diner. And there may or may not be a devil in there from Earth or another plane.
Exactly. Some sort of other being that is going to trick our characters.
Yeah. And I did want to, I know in the first episode I did talk about how we are going to talk a little bit about the 2019 Jordan Peele Twilight Zone. And I wanted to just right off the bat, I didn't pick it for this episode and I was really conflicted about picking it or not. I have to mention it anyway.
Do it.
It was season 1. Episode 3, it's called Replay. It is so good. It's starring Sanaa Lathan, Dason Idris, and Glenn Flesher, which he's been in a couple other things. But just to give you a short thing, because I do want you guys to watch the newest Twilight Zone iteration. It's only 2 seasons. It's pretty freaking good.
Oh, yeah. We blew through it pretty quickly, yeah.
Yeah, we were very hesitant to watch it because we were like, I don't know. But it was very good. Very, very good.
Completely agree.
So this episode features a camera recorder with the ability to turn back time, but with one apparent limitation. It can delay a fatal encounter between a mom trying to take her son to college and a racist police officer determined to stop them. But it can't be delayed forever. That's all I'm going to give you. It is very good.
I will be completely honest in saying that this episode of The Twilight Zone made me cry.
Yeah. It was very emotional. It's one of those things, when we first started watching the newest iteration of the Twilight Zone, it felt like it was trying to play a lot of homage to the original series, which was great.
Yeah, we want that.
Right. And we knew that Rod Serling wanted to create something that kind of expanded and pushed the limits to what they were limiting him to on social commentary, on anything that he wanted to talk about. And the third episode was like, Jordan Peele was like, oh, I see you, and I'm going to just go straight through that.
Yeah.
Huge social commentary in this one. It's so good. It's so well written, but also it has that Twilight Zone-y spin on it. I don't know. I love that Jordan Peele was the one that did it because he's not scared to like go the extra mile. He doesn't care if you're uncomfortable. It's real. But he's going to show you a little supernatural twist on it.
Yeah, life is uncomfortable. And you know what? It's kind of this thing of like, this is my medium and this is how I'm getting the message across.
Right.
So even though it's the Twilight Zone and there's a sci-fi twist to it or otherworldly twist to it, I'm still getting the real world message across. And that's what he does so well.
Yeah.
And I really think, I mean, the second season, I wouldn't say they're achieving that as much, which is fine. I feel like, but in the first season, pretty much every episode is social commentary.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and this one is incredibly effective.
I liked it a lot. I think it's really good. It is hard to watch, but it's something that I think needs to be watched.
Mm-hmm.
So go watch it. I don't want to spoil anything because it is so good, but I had to mention it in this one because we're talking about diners, devils, and drives.
Yes.
So, as always, I did want to give a phobia to this episode. I found one.
Give us that creepy.
Really weird. The last one I talked about apocalyptophobia, which isn't technically real because there's too many phobias within that umbrella of things. But I found this one, which is, it fits. It fits.
Fear of french fries?
No, and I didn't look that up. But this phobia is dipnophobia.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the fear of dining with others. Right?
Oh, interesting.
Right?
Yeah, tell me more. Tell me more.
So this is all from the recoveryvillage.com.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to take credit for this because I don't know if this is an actual phobia, but I found it on a website, so it has to be real.
Gotta be real. That's how the internet works.
Internet never lies.
Only real things are on there.
So, and I quote, dipnophobia is a fear of dining with others. This often manifests as a fear of dining parties and may stem from the fear of dining conversations or having to carry out a conversation while eating.
Oh.
So there's a lot going on here.
Yeah.
Yeah. It may also be related to some underlying social phobia. In many cases, dipnophobia is triggered by traumatic events from an individual's past, either being ridiculed as a child for how they eat or how much they eat or anything like that. It just makes somebody kind of anxious to eat around people.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense. It's making a little more sense here.
Yeah.
Right. The fear of dining with others can also be related to a fear of being criticized for the way somebody eats. So not even just as a child, but, you know, there's that thing that some people have, like an uncontrolled annoyance with how somebody chews. Or like if they hear the smacking, it just like, it irritates them so much.
Yeah.
I'm kind of one of those people. I don't think I get super irritated with it, but I like notice it and I'm like, ah.
When I was a little dude, my father would get on us. He'd call it chomping. And he'd just go, stop chomping. Can I just say something?
Your dad
My
said that?
father, as an adult now, is the worst with chomping and mouth noises and doesn't care. I don't understand. He berated us as children. And to me, I mean, I guess I can go out into the world and not be a heathen. But now he has henceforth been heathened.
I love your dad. And I'm so happy that we've mentioned him a few times on this Triple D episode. Because he would probably love it. He does listen to the podcast, so hi.
I know. We have to make sure he listens to this, Dad. He's like, oh, chump.
Yeah, you do. And but it's great. We love him. And the last thing I'll say about this phobia, people with dipnophobia tend to eat alone or prefer to eat in silence if they have to eat with others. So there you go.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of like understand it. I think you said it sort of at the beginning of the phobia of that like fear of like going to a dinner party. I have that. It's like, I mean, it's obviously,
really?
Yeah. It's totally connected to my own anxiety. But it's like really funny. It's like, I will be panicked about the dinner until I get there and then I'm fine.
But what are you panicked about? Are you panicked about not having the right things to bring to it? Or are you panicked about actually eating there?
No. It's panic about maybe sitting down with people I don't know. Will I be judged? Will we get along? Will the topic be okay? Like it's interesting. Like in my social life, I'm very nervous about silence and what that means and nobody's engaging. But in my personal life, I enjoy silence.
Yeah, I mean, you get any of our friends together, there's hardly ever any silence.
From the moment we're together, it's nonstop.
It's mayhem.
Yeah, but it's interesting. So like, because like when like conferences were happening in person, I'd go to a lot of publisher dinners and that was always very nerve-wracking to me. So I completely get that.
Ah, interesting. But I just don't like to have to eat around people I don't know. I don't think I have a fear of it. It's just like, ugh, okay.
I guess there's like sort of a thing of like faux pas, right? Like I don't want to do something that might gross someone else out.
Oh, okay. Well, fuck them. But
I mean, but like, listen,
yeah.
if if the waiter's coming and they're going to take the plate and there's still one boneless chicken wing on the plate, I'm going to eat it.
Oh, yeah. If I'm too full or if I don't feel like finishing it, I'll be like, yeah, I know there's a corner of that sandwich left. You can take it.
No wasty.
I know it's weird, but whatever.
Clean plate club. Clean plate club.
No.
I enjoyed that though.
But that's my phobia.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. We, of course, always have to issue a spoiler alert just in case, because, you know, Twilight Zone can be twisty-turny, and we do not want to spoil those twisty turns for you.
Yeah, again, you can watch all of these. The whole original Twilight Zone series is available to stream. So if you want to watch these and then come back, please do that now.
Yes, but I also will say that while Noah and I are able to watch it on streaming, we did buy the entire Blu-ray series recently.
Yeah. Okay. Don't judge.
Don't judge us. We just love it so much.
Yeah.
Okay, let us officially take a bite of the Twilight Zone, Nick of Time, and Will the Real Martian Please Stand Up?
So watch those if you don't want to get spoiled, please, because both of these episodes have big twisty turnies in them.
Twistedly, eternally. Yeah. So I'm up first. My episode is Nick of Time from season 2, episode 7. It was written by Whoops, that's wrong. It was not written by
written.
Whoa, Twilight Zone!
We do.
It was written by Richard Matheson, and it aired on November 18th, 1960. So this was the first William Shatner Twilight Zone.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
We might have some other Shatner episodes coming up, because how could we not? But that's interesting. I didn't know this is his first one.
Yes, I mean, I think it is, but I might be wrong.
I think you're right.
I think I'm right.
Right.
I'm going to go with it. Comment below if I'm wrong. Thanks, guys. So, as we did in the last episode, I will start with the opening Serling monologue.
Ooh.
The hand belongs to Mr. Dunn S. Carter, male member of a honeymoon team en route across the Ohio. What is happening? Now too many words have come up from the storage.
Okay, but can I just say that Ohio sounds much better than Ohio? I love it.
Idaho, no, Ohio, though.
Ohio, you know? No.
Across the Ohio countryside to New York City, in one moment, they will be subjected to a gift most humans never receive in a lifetime.
Oh.
For 1 penny, they will be able to look into the future. The time is now. The place is a little diner in Ridgeview, Ohio. And what this young couple doesn't realize is that this town happens to lie on the outskirts of the Twilight Zone. All right, so when we first meet our honeymooners, Don and Pat, they are sitting in their convertible, which unfortunately is hooked onto the back of a tow truck.
Been there.
Done that.
I haven't. I've always wanted to.
No, me either. And I feel like now it's like that thing of like where
Not
they don't really let you sit like when you go through the car wash anymore. They don't really let you sit in the back of the car with the tow truck.
I pay for the monthly payments. Let me sit in my damn car.
Heck no. They said liable.
Yeah.
So as we see on their honeymoon, things are not going according to plan, and their car has broken down in this little town in Ohio. So apparently there's something wrong with their fuel pump, and the mechanic here does not have the part, so he has to order it.
I also like how they were like, he was like, it's going to be 4 hours, and you would think that the world ended.
They were like, 4 precious hours?
It's like, it takes 8 hours for me to get an oil change.
Oh my gosh. Last week, I brought my car in to get the state inspection.
Yeah.
Turned out I needed new tires. I dropped it off at 11 o'clock in the morning, and I got it back at 6 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Okay?
And they also broke something too.
Oh, they broke the key to my wheel locks.
I don't even know what that is.
So you know what? Don and Pat, calm down. Yeah. Also, some of us didn't get to go on our original honeymoons because of COVID-19.
Okay, well, you just need William Shatner could not help that.
I know, they got me started.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Take it back. Oh, things got intense. So, of course, what do they do to kill some time? Go to the diner.
Of course.
There's a local diner. But we see as they're crossing the street, they're walking hand in hand on the sidewalk, and they go to cross the street, and they're about to, quote unquote, split the pole. And we see that Don pulls her to his side because he doesn't want to split the pole.
Bread and butter, baby.
Heck yeah, that's what he says, quote unquote. So
do you do that? Do you not like the pole being split?
it's not about, I don't think I've ever been in a situation where I'm going to split a pole. As homosexuals, we don't really hold hands in the street for fear of murder.
Whoa, okay. Well,
Went there. Welcome to
you don't necessarily
my life.
have to hold somebody's hand. It's like if you're walking together.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But I don't know. It's funny. That's not something that ever stuck out to me. For me, I'm more of like a don't step on the crack because you'll break your mother's back type of guy. He said, P-Shaw.
Bye, mama's back.
P-Shaw to moms.
No, I think I always noticed like the splitting of the pole. I'm just like, oh, that probably sucks. Don't reverse it.
Good luck, suckers.
Yeah. Anyway, I was curious.
But for good old Don and Pat, we see that Don is quite superstitious.
yeah, right off the
Yeah.
bat.
But I mean, that's the beauty of the writing. We're just given a small tidbit of this person and how they think of these things.
It might come into play later. Ooh.
Dun, dun, dun. Or we-do.
Yeah, there you go.
So they actually walk into the Busy Bee Cafe.
Oh.
And what's interesting about this is that it appears throughout the first season of the new Twilight Zone in 2019.
That was always fun.
And right, looking for those Easter eggs was fantastic. And just like Noah had mentioned in that original, that one replay, they're in the Busy Bee Cafe.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved that. That was the coolest thing about this. One of the cool things I should say about this new iteration of the Twilight Zone is if you know the original one, you're going to see callbacks to it, even if it's just a motif or a diner. And it's like, hey, William Shatner was there.
Yeah. And it's just, I don't know. And as an old school Twilight Zone fan, it's just gratifying to see. And something about like connecting the dot that the Busy Bee Diner that they put in the new one in replay, and actually they put it in a couple of them because it's on the cups.
Yeah.
It just makes me feel like, oh, so someone else took notice of one of my favorite episodes too.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not alone in that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It was just cool. So I was like, yay. So they walk into the Busy Bee Cafe.
I have to mention that when they come in, like immediately when they come into this cafe, she starts the jukebox.
Oh, heck yeah.
What? You force everybody to listen to your music. It wasn't on in the first place, lady.
Well,
Aren't they weird? Jukeboxes are weird.
Jukeboxes are weird. But like, even if you think about jukeboxes and diners later on, so like in this particular one, there's like one main jukebox for the whole diner. But later on, there were individual little jukeboxes at every booth. And when you played a song, it played on everyone else's jukebox.
No.
Yes.
I was always so terrified to do them because, one, I didn't want people to know that I wanted to listen to Cher or Celine Dion.
Ooh.
But...
Double whammy. Yes.
I mean, they were on the jukeboxes at the diner
Heck
that I would
yeah.
go to. But yeah, I didn't know that. I'm so glad I did not do that.
And it was like, like towards the end, it was kind of like the sound system wasn't great. So it was kind of like creepy. Yeah. Anyway, so she does the thing, but I think that it illustrates that they are just so in love and swoony on their honeymoon.
Yeah,
at
they're
this
like,
moment.
we need some mood music while we dine.
Yeah, Noah and I's version of that is doing a puzzle and then downloading Pokemon Brilliant Diamond.
Oh, yeah. And then playing it for the entire honeymoon
Exactly.
while eating cheese and drinking all day.
Yes, queen.
It was great.
It was fantastic. We wore robes.
Here's a word of advice for any of the listeners that are going to get married, maybe planning a honeymoon, or one day will do one of those things. You don't have to go on excursions. You don't have to do something super extravagant. Get an Airbnb in a nice little quiet place and just geek the fuck out.
Yeah.
It's great if that's what your partner's into, obviously. But it's so much fun.
It
That's
was
all
so
you
much
need.
fun. There was a fireplace. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
It was
Anyway,
everything we could have
sorry.
dreamed of. All right, back to these honeymooners, who are about to take a detour into the Twilight Zone.
Also, why don't do that on your honeymoon?
Oh my God, he's so angry. They finally sit at a booth, and there is a mystic seer fortune-telling machine. This little machine that doubles as a napkin holder.
It's so weird.
Hello. Has a little devil bobblehead on top of it. It has a winking eye and a diamond eye with 2 pointy horns and 2 fangs. He is ready to answer your yes or no questions.
I'm kind of disappointed that it wasn't called like the Busy Devil Cafe or something. Because it's like, why is there a little devil on this when the motif for the
Because he's the
cafe-
mystic seer.
I know, and it's just like, wait, why? Whose decision was it to put these in here?
Well, I feel like the mystic seers are an afterthought, right? It's
Oh,
like
right.
you get your
The new hot
diner,
thing.
and then you're like, oh, we should get some. Oh, look at these fun little fortune tellers that
I
are
would
also
love it.
napkin holders.
I'd love it at my table.
Yeah, and then you screw over your patrons. It's fine. Bring them into the Twilight Zone. It's cool. So as things are in the 60s, it costs 1 penny to ask it a yes or no question.
Dear Lord.
And the first question that Don asks is, does anything exciting ever happen around here? And it answers, it is quite possible. Dun, dun, dun.
Bit general, but sure.
Yeah. So we come to meet the person who works there. He tries to get them to eat some chicken fried steak, but they order just a very delicate tomato and lettuce on whole wheat with some iced coffee.
That was the most infuriating
That's
thing.
the most bizarre thing about
Yeah.
this episode.
Where's the bacon?
No cheese?
No mayo? It's so
Yeah.
weird. It's like on wheat of all
Yeah.
breads,
Yeah.
you just want some. Hopefully the lettuce is fresh and not wilty and like rubbery. You know, when you get lettuce like that, gross.
I mean,
What?
yeah, fingers crossed that a diner in the 60s took a little more care than maybe restaurants nowadays.
True.
But that was quite bizarre. But I will say, it's so funny. It's like, I don't think I realized iced coffee existed until I was like a teenager. But the fact that like in the 60s, people were just drinking iced coffee, like for some reason blew my mind.
Oh, you didn't think it was invented back then?
Not that it was invented, but like they order it numerous times, and it's like you know what I mean? It's like, oh,
Pat gets like at least 4. She needs
yeah,
to calm
yeah.
down.
Well, the tension is high. Tension is high. But that I don't know. It's just like, oh, iced coffee was a thing in the 60s. Like I guess, yeah, you could put anything in the refrigerator.
Yeah, because I guess it's like such a normal part of our day.
Yeah.
That it's like, oh, they did that back then too. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
dummies. Of course they did that.
Yeah, ding dong didn't happen in the 2000s.
Anyway.
So part of Don's story is that he's also waiting to hear about a promotion.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's very nervous about this. He wants to keep calling the office. So
He's on his honeymoon. You can't do that.
yeah, exactly. She's like, come on, leave work at home. And he's like, no. So of course he turns to the Mystic Seer and he asks, am I going to be promoted for Pete's sake? And it asks, by the way, not only are you going to get my bad Rod Serling impression, but you're going to get my horrible Shatner impression as
Lord.
well. That's what I've been trying to do. Not so good. And the Mystic Seer shoots out a card that says, it has been decided in your favor.
We do.
So he runs to the payphone. He says, operator, give me main 1, blah, blah, blah. And we see in Pat's hands that she has a rabbit foot and a 4-leaf clover charm, which we noticed that Don was carrying in his pocket.
Yeah,
so
super
again,
superstitious.
yeah, so he didn't want to split the pole. He carries around a rabbit's foot and a 4-leaf clover. So the man is hell-bent on superstition. So he gets in touch with Pauline, who's like the bigwig secretary, and apparently he got the job. So he's really impressed. He's like, this thing predicted it. He knew it was already decided. So I need to talk to this Mystic Seer some more.
Ugh,
So
great.
he starts popping pennies. He asks, is it really going to be 4 hours before we get out of here? And it's like, you may never know. You mean something will happen to us if you move soon. We're supposed to stay here. That makes a good deal of sense. Should we stay here until 2:30? Try again. Should we stay until 3 o'clock? There's no question about it.
So what? I love how he's like asking it these things and he's telling his wife, it's giving me the answers. It's like, are they though? Because they just seem like a magic 8-ball just giving you the same, like, it's not really saying anything.
How dare you doubt the magic of the magic 8-ball?
Well, because you have a paranoid, super superstitious guy that's just something's just giving him answers.
This is superstitious fodder right here. It's
Yeah.
answering all of his questions. So Pat's getting a little nervous. She's like, uh-oh.
Did I marry the right person?
Yeah. So she's like, hey, maybe let's go look at the town and let's get out of here. So he refuses to go. Time lapses. It's almost 3 o'clock. Pat's like, come on, we got to get out of here. And he is sticking up for the Mystic Seer. He's
Do we
like,
know what time they went there to begin with?
we don't.
Was it like 12 maybe?
You know, it might have been, and maybe I didn't notice it because I I surely believe that the Twilight Zone folks let us know what time it was when they
Yeah,
were
I
there.
feel like maybe 12 is a good number because being in a diner for 3 hours is excessive.
Yeah. And we see that she's like kind of wandering around. He's like really trying to eat this melted ice cream, which they've probably had for a while. And she's like, please, let's get out of here. So it's like 2:50 and they finally leave.
Right.
So they go out into the street. They start bickering about the machine. He's like, it told us all the answers. We need to listen to it. She's like, come on, you're being ridiculous. Sure enough, they almost get mowed down by a giant truck. And when he looks at the clock on the pole in the street, it's 3:00.
Mm.
Dun, dun, dun. And he's like, I told you, it was 3:00. We should have stayed. The machine was right. And she was like, no. You kept us there until 3:00.
Yep.
It was your fault that we almost got hit.
Yep.
You listened to the machine, which is apparently psychic, quote unquote. But if we would have left when I wanted to leave, this wouldn't have happened.
Right. And I think she brings up a good point because she's like, no, you made the decisions, but you let that thing make the decisions for you. So
Right.
therefore, if any coincidences happen because of it, you're going to think that it's that.
It's on you, Don.
Yeah. Also, I want to, like, I feel like if that situation was happening because how they almost get mowed down, there's a truck and then the truck is slowing down because they're crossing the street. The car wants to speed around it because it's like, oh my God, this truck's in the way because they're crossing, and then it almost hits them. It's like, so you caused it.
Yeah, so you don't want to split the pole, but you don't look
Right.
left. You don't look right, left, right.
You don't go to a crosswalk, which
Yeah.
I'm not sure existed at that time because in every Twilight Zone episode with the street, everybody's just going everywhere in the street.
Can we just come back to real life for a second? Noah is a big supporter of crosswalks.
Oh my God, absolutely.
Myself, who grew up in Queens and worked in the city, it's like you cross where you cross, and that's on the cars to not hit you.
Nope.
Noah is like, we need to cross this street to get to that street because if we don't cross this street, then we won't be lined up with the crosswalk.
Yeah, absolutely.
Safety first.
Fight me on it. Whatever.
So going back to our lovebirds who are spatting, Pat and Don, they go back to the Busy Bee Cafe, and some ladies are sitting in their booth.
Yeah, he's getting real antsy
Yeah.
to get back in that booth.
But Pat's like, bro, there are mystic seers all over this place. Let's just ask this one at the counter.
Superstitious Don.
No. Don says, no, thank you. He says, I'll order 2 more iced coffees here at the counter, but I am not putting my penny in this machine. All right. So they wait. They talk a little bit more, and then the ladies finally get up, and he rushes over to the old booth, and he starts pumping questions into the machine.
Yeah, he asks a lot of
Yeah.
questions.
Let's get into it.
Oh, God.
Did you know about the car almost hitting us? What do you think? Will we reach New York all right now? Your chances are good. Will it still take 4 hours before the car is ready? It has already been taken care of. And just at that moment, the mechanic walks in and says their car is ready.
Okay, that was a we-do moment because, yeah, I mean,
And
I'm like, I wasn't believing this whole mystic seer thing until that moment. I was like, okay, is it coincidence? Am I being superstitious? What's happening?
yeah. And then Don turns to Pat and he's like, suck it, Pat. I told you I was right.
She gets real distraught about him in this like last couple minutes of the episode.
Well, I feel like she's like watching her husband lose his mind. And they've only been married for, what, a week? They've been on their honeymoon?
It's like she saw all the cute little trinkets that he would, or like the little superstitions that he had, but she's like, oh no, you're just like paranoid. Like
Right.
you're not acting right. And how many paranoid characters does William Shatner play in the Twilight Zone?
All of them. All of them.
Did he divorce her and then marry the woman that he was on Nightmare at 20,000 feet?
No.
Just
Don
saying.
and Pat run off into the sunset. So
We'll see.
to prove that he's correct, he tells her to ask some questions
Right.
of Mystic Seer. And so, listen, Pat's thinking, Pat's like, I'm going to ask it questions that I already know the answers to. Okay. So she asks, will we reach Columbus by tomorrow? And he's like, we're not going through Columbus. And the Mystic Seer says, if that's what you really want.
That's
toots.
a non-answer.
Okay. Then she says, will I ever be married? And he answers, the answer to that is obvious. It's not possible to foretell the future, is it? That's up to you to find out.
What?
You're just a stupid piece of junk, aren't you? That all depends on your point of view.
See?
Woo.
Yeah, but
He's playing her. He's playing her.
Is he?
He's playing her like a ukulele.
is he?
Yeah.
No, but I could have easily just been like, does this person love me? It depends on your point of view.
I mean, that Mystic Seer said, "T, bitch.
Yeah.
Let's go, bitch.
guess.
You wanna go another round? Give me another penny."
Yeah.
So then Don is just like completely like, this thing is right. It knows everything. So then he starts to get manic, and he gets like the most Shatner he's been in this whole episode.
Yeah.
He's like, are we going to live in the East? Are we going to live in the West? Are we going to leave this country?
Derek's shoulders are up to the top of his head when he does that.
To the tippy top of my cue ball head. So finally, she's like, you're obsessed. Are you going to let this thing run your life? And then she says, I don't want to know what's going to happen. I want us to make it happen.
Oh.
And that finally snaps him out of it. And he agrees that you're right. And they leave the Busy Bee Cafe.
I mean, why? It's just a napkin holder. Just take it with you if you want.
But I mean, as we see,
If it never runs out of fortunes, then that means that thing is cursed or supernatural.
We do. Fortune. But as we see, this is not the first time it has happened, because as Pat and Don exit the Busy Bee Diner, another couple comes in, and they are distraught. Their first question for the machine is, can we ask some more questions now? Then, do you think we might leave Ridgeview today? And they look horrified and distraught, because guess what? The Mystic Seer is keeping them in Ridgeview.
Is it though, or is it them?
It's the Twilight Zone, baby.
No, is this Westview? I don't like. That's what I'm feeling.
It was Wanda.
It's-
Or was it Agatha all along?
Agatha's the Mystic Seer the whole time.
Listen, I see Mephisto, Agatha, it all fits together. But anyway, that is Nick of Time.
It's the we do moment. Is apparently other very paranoid and superstitious people see this napkin holder as the holder of their fates.
Yes, but that's...
Did you like that? You didn't even...
Napkin holder is the holder of their fates.
Yeah. I wanted more credit for that one. Come on.
That was beautiful. Wow. Good job.
I wrote it, and in my notes was like, Derek will like this. And then I skimmed right over it.
Oh, sorry. I just
fine.
had a thought in my head, so I was concentrating on that. I wasn't
fine.
I wasn't conversing well.
It's fine.
But
Anyway.
I
Do you have
forgot
any
what I was going to say.
superstitions?
Oh, the step on a crack mother's back thing.
Uh-huh.
I also have I used to deal with this. I don't deal with it anymore. I don't know if it's so much a superstition as an OCD thing, but when I would turn the volume up in my car, I needed it to be on an even number.
That's definitely more of a
Yeah.
obsessive compulsive thing.
Yeah.
Or it just makes you comfortable type thing.
No, I don't think I have really any other superstitions. Do you?
I the only one I can think of, when I wrote this down, I'm like, wait, do I have any? The only one I can think of is I always have to leave on a road trip before the sun comes up.
Ooh.
It's weird.
I mean,
But
good
I
planning.
feel like because I get scared that I'll fall asleep. I don't know. It's weird. It's like I have to start going before other people get up because then that means it will be a safe trip. I don't
like that.
know.
I'm down with that. I don't know. I'm like
That's why I forced you to get up at
Yeah.
5 a.m. every time we do a road trip.
Well, you know what though? First of all, I just like that because I think it's good planning.
Oh,
But
thanks.
I don't
shouldn't
know.
have said anything.
I'm a big believer though in sort of following your intuition when it comes to things like that. In my family, it's interesting. We're not super serious religious people at all. I went to Catholic school, as many of you know. My mom does this thing that when we leave the house, she says, bless yourself. And so we make the sign of the cross before we leave.
It's very confusing for somebody from the outside.
But it's just something that we do.
Right.
And there is a tale that one time my mother did not say that to my brother. and he went rollerblading, and she didn't say she didn't say bless yourself. And that day he tried to go over a ramp on his rollerblades. He fell and he broke his wrist in 2 places, and they had to set it, and it was this whole big thing. So we're very superstitious about the bless yourself thing.
Okay. I never know what to say to that whenever your mom has said it. I'm like, okay.
It goes like this. Love you guys. Bless yourselves. Like that.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay.
You don't have to say anything.
No, I know, but I feel like I need to say it.
No, you just say, love you too. And then what I do is that I bless myself. I do the sign of the cross.
Cool.
But I have to just say, one of the things that I love so much about this episode in particular is that not much happens, but it's still full of tense moments. And in reading the backstory behind it, it literally just, the writer, it came from the idea of when he and his wife were at a diner and he saw like a Mystic Seer machine, and he was like, wouldn't that be weird?
Oh, they were.
If the Mystic,
they're real?
Yeah. He was like, wouldn't that be weird if the fortune telling machine told someone's future? And that's where it came from.
It's pretty simple.
Right?
Yeah.
And there you go. A beautiful episode.
Nice. I love it. I like this episode a lot. I mean, I'm pretty sure all of William Shatner's episodes are really good. So, I mean, you can't really go wrong on that one.
I'm with you.
Okay, my turn.
Your turn.
My episode is, will the real Martian please stand up? And yes, Eminem got his lyrics from this. No, I'm just kidding. He did not.
I think he did.
Maybe. Will the real Sims lady please stand up? I mean, it's too similar.
I mean, is it possible that there is some other route to will the real
Absolutely
blank please
not.
stand up?
Nope.
Before the Twilight Zone?
Nope. This came out in 1961. So no. Nothing happened before that.
True. Yeah. Very true.
So this episode first premiered in May 1961. Have I ever told you guys, I think I may have mentioned it maybe briefly once, that I have an irrational fear of aliens. And I say irrational because I'm cognizant in knowing that it's a stupid thing to be scared of. But anytime there's an alien that looks like the little green men, little gray men, whatever, I get the willies.
Like if we're watching something, there's like an audible, okay, no.
Yeah.
Like he cannot
I will
deal
not.
with it.
I will, and it's so, I can watch horror all day and night. I can watch I can watch the grossest things on the planet.
Murder.
I sit on the toilet and watch Dr. Pimple Popper.
Ew.
But
Ew.
But I can't, even a visual of an alien, I just cannot look at it. Anyway, this one.
So the 90s, when they brought aliens back, was a real bad time for Noah.
But see, I can watch aliens. They just can't look like.
Oh no, I meant
the
like
green men.
like when Spencer's.
Oh yeah.
Or Hot Topic had like a blacklight poster with an alien face on it.
Going into like any of like the what do they call them, like the head stores?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely not. I never went in. I was like, you can go in. I'm not going in there. No, there was one in El Paso with a giant alien in a spaceship in the middle of the shop, and I was like, absolutely.
It was
not.
waiting for you.
No. So that's why I was kind of scared to do this episode, but luckily there's no little green men in it.
I also do want to say that, so I had seen this episode before. Noah had never seen this episode. And watching something with someone who has never seen it before, and like, the twists and the beat is like so satisfying because you get to see someone experience the real feeling of the episode.
Oh, yeah.
For the first time.
That's
fun.
I'm just going to preface this with, I loved this episode. So good. So opening narration, wintry February night, the present. Order of events, a phone call from a frightened woman noting the arrival of an unidentified flying object. The checkout you've just witnessed with 2 state troopers verifying the event, but with nothing more enlightening to add beyond evidence of some tracks leading across the highway to a diner. You've heard of trying to find a needle in a haystack? Well, stay with us now, and you'll be part of an investigating team whose mission is not to find the proverbial needle. No, their task is even harder. They've just got to find a Martian and a diner, and in just a moment, you'll search with them because you've just landed in the Twilight Zone. I feel like this is one of those narrations where it's like, you're saying a lot of words, let me experience it. You know what I mean? Like he said, like I feel like the first part of that narration was good, and I was like, okay, I know they're going to a diner to find a Martian.
This man said proverbial needle in a haystack. Yeah. And you're hating on him?
I'm not hating on
That's
him.
literature.
Yeah.
Okay. That's just good writing.
So that did set the scene a little bit. These cops, during a winter storm, 2 state troopers, I said cops, state troopers, are they the same thing?
No.
Okay.
I don't know, actually.
Are investigating a crash after a woman telephoned them and led them to believe there's a flying saucer. Immediately, I'd never seen this before. I know the episode says Martian in it, but I got terrified. I turned to Derek and I was like, if there's aliens in this, we can't watch this.
I mean, I'm trying to, in thinking of the Twilight Zone episodes, when there are aliens, they never really look like...
Well, that's usually the twist
You know?
of whoever the alien is or where they are. So I should have been smarter on that. I just got scared.
It's okay. It's a phobia. It's fine.
When they see footprints in the snow from the pond leading to the diner, I'd be done. If I was one of those state troopers, I'd be like, no, thanks.
They had a job.
It's snowing. We're in like what seems like Alaska, freezing.
I mean, I also think that there must be something where you can't believe that something is real, so you have to keep looking to prove yourself right.
With any other situation, I would.
Except aliens.
A woman said UFO. I clearly am like, oh, a UFO is probably here. Sorry.
And they said whatever it was clipped off the top of some
Yeah.
trees.
They follow the footprints leading from the crash to the diner, the Highway Cafe, where a group of passengers from a bus to Boston are waiting for word that a bridge up ahead is safe to cross. This kind of reminds me just a little bit. There was an episode in the new Twilight Zone in the 2019 one with Stephen Yeun. It's almost kind of similar to this.
Yeah.
Where there's an alien that comes and he's like in an environment with people and they're like, something's not right here. Somebody doesn't belong here. Great episode. It gets a little weird at the end.
Yeah.
But it was good. It has that tension of like somebody's here that doesn't belong. It's very like Clue.
Yes.
It's like a group of people and you're trying to figure out the mystery.
Exactly.
Love situations like that.
Mhm.
Love them. These people, I do want to say, it's like you have a whole cast of people and there's one in particular that looks just like Jennifer Coolidge.
Oh, yeah. The starlet, baby.
The starlet, Avery is her name.
Ooh.
And she looks just, I'm not kidding, guys. Like, look this episode up and look up Avery, the starlet from this episode. I'm like, is that Jennifer Coolidge? Like, I swear to God.
When they, in the new Twilight Zone, when they do the remake of this episode or the nod to this episode, Jennifer Coolidge better be in it.
Yeah. Right. The cops, I keep saying cops in this. That's what I wrote in my notes. State troopers, if there's a difference, I'm not going to change it.
Were you synonymous in this conversation?
Right. I'm not saying one's lesser or one's better. Anyway, the cop asks the bus driver for a passenger manifest because they want to know that all of the people in this diner are from the bus that this driver was in. And it is interesting because I thought in my head, it's like, it's a bus. They don't have a manifest. And he even says, is this a plane? No, I'm a bus. I don't have a manifest. There's also only less than 10 people in here.
Yeah.
Why would I need that? The bus driver said there were 6 passengers on the bus when they got there. But the state troopers, see, I keep switching them, say there's 7 people in the diner.
Dun, dun, dun.
This is the Twilight Zone. You need to go wee-do.
Excuse me. We-do.
Yeah. Thank you. The diner owner says no one was in the diner before the passengers came in. So this mysterious Martian came in with everybody else.
Right.
And I do want to say, like, I mean, if there was only 6 people on the bus, excluding the driver, in my head, I was like, I probably wouldn't have noticed that. I wouldn't have counted, but I think I might have would have noticed how many people were there or who wasn't there.
I am a person that I am always looking at everyone around me, and I would have been able to know exactly who wasn't on our bus. I know it.
I'm one of those people where I feel like I don't want anyone to talk to me. I don't want to interact with anybody, so I don't.
I'm with you on that. I don't want anyone to talk to me. I don't want you to interact with me, but you better believe me, I am taking my own itinerary of everybody who's here. There's like that game. Do you ever do that game like when you're in a group of people and they're like, they go down the list and everybody has to say their name and like something that starts with the letter of their first name?
Sounds familiar?
I was in a class once and they were like, who wants to go first? And like the first person, and then they're like, who wants to go last? And I was like, oh, I'll go last. And they were like, oh, you're in for trouble. Because the person who goes last has to say everybody's name and the thing that they said.
Absolutely not.
Throughout the whole thing. There's like 25 of us. I had no problem with that because I do that every day of my life.
Well, that's insane.
I'm always seeing who's around me. So I would have been like, you, Martian,
Yeah.
done.
Well, I feel like everybody on this bus was like me and just did not. They had like blinders on where they just didn't look at anybody
maybe
else.
there was snow. They were distracted by the storm.
Yeah. So Mr. Ross, a skeptical businessman played by John Hoyt, who says he has a meeting in Boston. I need to hurry up and get going. The driver must have been mistaken, but he swears that there were 6. I want this businessman right off the bat was very like, let's go. It's very suspicious. Very suspicious. And throughout this whole episode, I'm like, they're the alien. They're the alien.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
I even told Derek, I was like, one of the cops is an alien. He's like, how? And I was like, I don't know, but it is.
Noah and I very much sit firmly in the annoying thing that your spouse will do when they have seen something and then your spouse asks you a question about it and you're like, you'll just have to watch.
I mean, that's true. Don't ever tell me the actual answer.
Right. We're like the other one is always trying to throw the other one off course when they ask a question.
Yeah. And so for a majority of this episode, there's mutual suspicion that happens within these walls of the diner. That's what most of this episode is. And you as the viewer, you're listening and you're trying to figure it out while also they're trying to figure it out.
Right.
So I love how these state troopers came in and told everybody, they're like, somebody's here that's not supposed to be here. It's from UFO. And they don't bat an eye to somebody mentioning that there was a UFO. And they're like, oh, let's find out who it is. What? I would have so many questions.
You know, also, as the state troopers, what am I hoping to accomplish here?
There's not that many people, so they're not causing too much panic.
But I just mean like...
Oh, what are you going to do
What
with
are you
them?
going to do?
Right.
What are you going to do? It's an alien. What are you going to do?
I don't know. Put them in jail.
Jail, and then we're in the Stephen Yeun episode of the new Twilight.
I'm telling you, they already remade it.
It's a continuation.
But Avery, a.k.a. Jennifer Coolidge from the 60s, makes a good point. And she's like, you have to eliminate the couples. They had to have come in together. And if there's one person that doesn't belong here, it can't be the couples. And then there's 2 young couples in the back. And she looks at her partner and she's like, I could have swore you had a mole on your face. And I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, great.
Yeah. She's like, my husband's an alien. Right. That's the name of an adult Goosebumps book. Right. My husband's an alien.
My husband's an alien, a.k.a. I just don't want to be with him anymore. And this is my out.
Over it.
But, I mean, spoiler, it's not any of the couples.
Done.
But they keep trying to, like, both couples, there's one partner in each couple that kind of suspects something of the other one.
Well, let's be real. It's the woman who always doesn't suspect who always suspects the man.
Right. Well, yeah, because
Why
they're
that?
acting
Why
weird.
that?
They're
Why that?
acting weird.
I don't know. It's
also,
like
you had a mole and then all of a sudden you don't.
I used to have a mole on my chin, but then when I was shaving as a teenager, I accidentally shaved it off.
That's not even the same situation.
I'm just saying, one day you see me, it's there. One day you see me, it's not there. Okay? You don't see it. Okay?
I was in the bus and I shaved my mole off.
Hello?
Not my
Alien.
fault you didn't notice. They end up even questioning if the driver counted correctly, which I was also questioning too. I'm like, but how do you don't have a manifest or anything, but how do you know there was 6 people?
Yeah, and he seems boozy.
Yeah, he see's a little weird.
He's a little boozy.
In the meantime, several odd things are happening. The jukebox plays on its own. The light flickers on and off. Sugar bowls explode on the tables.
Exploding sugar bowls.
I mean, literally, a sugar bowl just like gets thrown into these people's faces. Pretty cool effect.
It was great.
For the 60s, great.
Sugar in the eyes, dangerous.
Also, see, jukeboxes are weird. Another correlation between our 2 episodes.
Noah is fully against jukeboxes.
I don't get them.
Jukeboxes of America.
I would love one in my house.
Yes.
I just don't want to use one in a public setting.
Fair. I think that's fair.
I don't like to force people to listen to my music.
Right. I feel like it's very socially conscious. It's respecting others. I get that.
I am a socially conscious person.
Okay.
Silence. Just fucking crickets.
Cool. All
the
right.
patrons wonder why, at this point, whomever it may be, why they haven't shown themselves.
Yeah.
What's with this cat and mouse game? What is the agenda of this person? Because at this point, it's like they're all snowed in. They can't go anywhere. It's like, if this person is here, why are they trying to be like one of us? And it's like, well, maybe they're just trying to seek refuge somewhere, or maybe they just don't want you to know their business.
Also, this seems like a witch hunt / alien hunt.
Right.
So things would not be good
Right.
for a person if they came out of the extraterrestrial closet.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. They also kind of do this like red herring in this episode where there's this guy at the counter. He has crazy eyes.
Yeah.
He's very eccentric. He's like laughing at everything. He's to throw you off. The second I saw him, I was like, well, he's obviously not the alien because why would an alien be acting like that?
Right. And the character's name is also Red Herring.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Oh. I was like, whoa, mind blow. So they end up receiving word that the bridge is safe to cross, and they all leave the diner. So I'm not even kidding you. There's like some conversations that happen in between this. They at one point they're like, okay, everybody show me your identifications. They go to Avery, the starlet, and then they're like, show me your ID. I don't know why they went to her first. And she was like, oh, I don't have it. I sent it away on my luggage ahead of me. Why isn't your luggage on the bus with you?
Also, guys, keep your ID with you.
Right? How did you get? When you bought tickets?
Different security back then. Different security.
I don't know a life where I don't have to show 17 different documents of identification just to do one thing.
Agreed. It's hellacious.
That's the reason why I wanted to talk about this episode. Is
good for you.
I'm just kidding.
Social commentary.
I'm socially conscious, but have a lot to say about social commentary.
Ooh, I like that.
Thank you. So after everybody leaves the diner, they get on the bus and they leave. Shortly, Mr. Ross, this businessman,
trench coat,
returns to the diner alone. He goes inside, sits down. He tells the cook that the bridge wasn't safe at all and that it all collapsed, killing all the occupants of both the bus and the police car.
The newlyweds, the old folks, the crazy eyes.
They're dead.
Done.
The cook asks the businessman how he survived the bridge collapsing into the river / water, creek, whatever it was.
So cold.
Without even getting wet. The businessman asks what the word wet means.
Twist.
Revealing a third arm from under his overcoat as he stirs his coffee and lights a cigarette. He has multiple arms. I want to point out one thing before we talk about his multiple arms and the aliens. In an ironic twist of fate, because in previous conversations, the passengers of the bus would have likely survived their encounter with Mr. Ross, depending on if he knew the bus was going to crash or not, if they had heeded the warnings of the old man, the older couple, and checked the bus occupants if they had wings. Because they're like, check all of them, make sure they don't have wings. It would have revealed the third arm.
Strip searches.
He was right.
He was right.
When in doubt, if there's a Martian in your cafe, strip search everybody.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Bare-assed, baby.
Just, God. So, multiple arms. This shot is so amazing.
But how did they do it?
I mean, literally.
There's just someone behind them?
Yes. So we have the Twilight Zone companion, and in this, it kind of talks about how stuff is done in this episode.
Yeah.
And it's just, since he has the overcoat draping over him, somebody's behind him, kind of just like holding his booty and having their arm come up from underneath him. So his arms are the two top ones, and the one from underneath is somebody else. But they did practice for a while to make it just comfortable.
It's very seamless.
Right, because
it looks really good.
His top right arm, I know I'm getting weird with this. You'll see pictures, obviously. Mr. Ross's top right arm is his arm. Mm-hmm. The left arm is his arm.
Right.
The bottom right is the other person. Right. But if you notice in the scene, he's holding his cup of coffee, stirring the other one, getting the pack of cigarettes, opening it, lighting it, taking it, and putting it in his mouth. That is a lot to coordinate with somebody.
So they have to work together.
Right. And so they practice a lot. And the reason why this scene is so effective is because it just seems like he actually has 3 arms.
Right.
When I saw this, I was like, whoa. How did they do that?
It
was so good.
It's just like, it's like such a practical thing, but it's so effective.
Oh, so good.
It's so effective.
So good. So Mr. Ross also says the music, the telephone ringing were all illusions. He reveals to the cook that he is a Martian, that Mars plans to start colonizing Earth. This episode's taking a really weird turn. Right. Laughing, the cook tells him that he's too late, that he himself is from Venus,
Whoa!
which has already started a colony, and that the Martian invasion force has been intercepted.
Sorry, suckers.
The cook takes off his diner cook hat.
Sure.
Revealing a third eye in the middle of his forehead. The shocked Martian stares nervously at the cook, and the episode ends. This eye moves, guys, on his forehead.
It's so good. Chef's kiss, y'all.
Double twist, the diner owner is a Vestian, which apparently there is a real word for aliens from Venus, which is, what is it?
Venusians.
It's like Venusians.
Say it suavely. Venusians.
Venetians.
Nope.
Yep.
Okay.
So Martians have multiple arms, and Venetians have 3 eyes.
So good.
They both have 3 of one thing.
Y'all.
That's weird.
But like what you said, the double twist.
Yeah.
There's a double twist.
Yeah, they should have been looking for 2 Martians, not just one.
Oh, man. This episode is just...
It's so good.
It's so good.
It's so good. Did you guys get chills just now? I got chills retelling it.
So good.
I hope they became friends.
No, the Venusian had to kill the Martian.
I know. I'm
He
just saying.
ripped off his third arm and he beat him to death with it. And he said, "That's poison coffee, sucker."
But that's the coolest thing about the Twilight Zone is they just drop it and then you're done.
Drop it like it's hot.
It's so good.
Well, that's the thing, right? They let you settle into the uneasiness of the fate.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
And I wanted to, there's this fun little thing that I read in the companion that we have. A story with the premise written in October 12th, 1958, so a couple of years before this episode aired, titled The Night of the Big Rain. Serling laid out the basics of the story with one big difference. The alien turns out to be a stray dog that the operator of the diner adopted.
Ah.
So in this first story that he wrote, there was actually a dog that was the alien. So maybe they just didn't want to like add a dog in here or whatever. This episode was super effective.
I like this twist better. I like the new updated one better.
I like it a lot, but I thought that was interesting that they did. He kind of tweaked it. There was a couple years that led up to it, and he decided that he wanted to not have one Martian, but 2 Martians, and one was always already going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's so good.
So good.
I mean, this is crazy that we can watch something like this. It's like you can watch things in the 60s or in the 40s and you're like, oh my God, this like I know the whole plot to this. Twilight Zone, you never fucking know.
Nope.
And it's so effective. It's so good.
2 thumbs up.
I love it. Yeah, so that's Will the Real Martian Please Stand Up? It's a very polite title, one, but also there was 2 aliens in that diner, not cafe. Episode. This episode's got diners, drive-ins.
It's falling apart.
And dives.
It's falling apart. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right, let's get into the special segment. So it was Earth all along.
Is that the name of your segment?
Yeah,
Oh,
it was Earth all along.
I forgot.
Okay, cool.
I thought we had an episode named that, but I guess we don't. I hope we don't.
No, there was one in our drafts,
Oh, okay.
but we didn't end up picking it.
Good to know.
Anyway, so I've decided to focus on a restaurant that is haunted.
Oh, great. Okay.
Okay.
Is it here in New York?
Drive 3.5 hours north of Manhattan, and you will come to find yourself in quaint Little Falls, New York.
Damn it!
This is the home of one of the most haunted restaurants in the state,
Wow.
Beardsley Castle. Built in 1860, the castle originally served as home to the Beardsley family. Later, it became a hotel, and currently, it is an eatery focusing on new American cuisine.
Nothing ever comes good of an establishment that was once something, then turned into another thing, and then shifted again to a completely new thing.
You're right. They got to keep changing identities because it's not
Where
going
people can
well.
sleep and murder people and then change it into a restaurant, never good. It's always going to be haunted.
Not great. Not great. So the haunting of the castle is actually triple, as there are thrice separate apparitions that appear to this day.
One for each establishment.
OMG, you're right. Actually, before the castle was built, there was a farmhouse that existed on the grounds, and underneath it was ammunition. And Native Americans heard about the store and went to find it, but sadly, the munitions exploded and killed all that were present. So it is said that their spirits roam the surrounding land, and their screams can be heard throughout.
Jesus. Okay, poltergeist.
Yeah. It is also said that Captain Beardsley himself can be seen wandering the grounds holding a lantern, and many have spotted him on the highway blinding motorists with his bright light.
Whoa.
The third haunting,
off, man.
He's like, goodbye.
Yeah, here's my lantern.
The third haunting is by another former inhabitant of the manor. In the 1940s, Anton Christensen purchased the castle. He took his own life by hanging himself on one of the upper floors, and employees of the restaurant say that you can still see him there, waiting.
Oh.
So if you fancy yourself wanting to pair your dining experience with a bit of the paranormal, you don't have to go too far, because it was Earth all along.
No, I'm okay. That's fine.
We're taking a road trip.
No, we're not.
Road trip.
Bye.
They have some good stuff on that menu, I'm just saying.
Yeah, what? Devil's food and ghost cakes, and I think both of those were cakes, actually.
Ghost cakes, devil food.
No, thank you. I'm
Delicious.
okay. No, I definitely don't want to eat somewhere where a whole bunch of indigenous people died. No.
I know. It's not great.
Sounds
it's not great.
awful. They're like, you know what would be good here? A castle. You know what would be good here? A hotel. You know what would be good here? A diner. No.
It's got real good reviews on Yelp, though.
Yeah, I bet it does. I bet it does. Upstate New York is so weird.
So weird. So, guys, just be careful where you dine, because you might meet a devil.
I do also want to say, in a little Twilight Zone twist, this episode is pretty much almost the exact same time as our first one. Just wanted to point that out.
Spooky.
All right, well, till next week in the Twilight Zone.
Bye. Thanks for listening to A Bite Of, artwork and editing by our own Noah. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on Instagram at A Bite Of Pod, and on Facebook at A Bite Of. If you have questions, recommendations, or just want to say hi, you can email us at abiteofpod@gmail.com. You can find us on all podcast platforms. Please be sure to rate and review to spread the word. Hope you join us next time on A Bite Of. Bye.